You rocking out with LFOD.
LFOD Radio, live free or die.
LFOD Radio.
LFOD Radio.
Live free or die.
LFOD Radio, boy.
You are now tuned in to LFOD Radio, live free or die. I am your host, Uncle Sam. Tonight, we are going to be joined by Stiggity Stackz. He makes a lot of moves, but they're all driven towards creating a platform for urban artists to thrive. Those are his words. We actually spoke to him at the Historic Night at the Museum 2. We brought him back in here tonight. We're going to talk about some events he has coming up in the summer, and then we're going to play the audio from that because it was a real cool interview. We got into a lot of important topics about not only dance, but, you know, independent artistry in the city of Boston and possibly in a city like yours. Definitely a lot to learn from it. Right now, I'm joined by A-Ball.
What's happening, man? How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
And so this was, I guess, like your doing here.
Yeah.
You've been telling me about Stackz and just like the dance community in general.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
Word.
Like,
all right. That's what's up. So we're here to start the mission, I feel like. I was wondering about ways to kind of like involve myself more deeply with LFOD, and I thought like, you know, we're here to promote the local New England hip hop, so let's do hip hop in all fields, you know? Like we are very focused on DJs, rappers, MCs, and managers, promoters, and pretty much, I mean, not so much promoters, but
the music
side, yeah. And so I wanted to, you know, I was like, I know loads of people in the dance community now, so like I can just start spreading the word that like, hey, I'm in a podcast and I want to try to get some hip hop dance represented in it. So, you know, like come through, or I tell people about it, and I've been trying to set this dance panel up. So making sure that we kind of, you know,
connect the dots.
Yeah, connect the dots, shine lights where people are hidden in the dark. And yeah.
Well, they're not hidden. We just don't know about them yet.
Yeah. To some, everyone is hidden. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I started doing this anyways. I was meeting so many people. I was like, this is incredible. Like, I want to tell people about you. I want to introduce you.
Word. Well, thank you.
I see this as like introducing everyone that I know to each other.
Yeah. Honestly, we need to, like, I think that in all my ambitions in life, I've realized that the true underlying motivation is love. And, you know, no matter how I'm trying to make my money, no matter how I'm trying to move to make a life that I want to live, I'm going to try to always just connect my family and make it bigger. And, you know, I think
this is step one.
Yeah. Step one, indeed. Initiated.
I'm excited, man. I appreciate you bringing this element into the fold.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure, really.
And I'm excited to see where this goes because this is literally the first step, the first little grain of sand. It's going to turn into something big. Before we bring Stackz on, we got to let people know, you know, he did say podcast, but we're also on FM radio as well. So if you're tuned in FM right now, you already know we also have a podcast. We got 160 other episodes up if you want to check those out. LFOD Radio. Put that on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, or just go to LFODradio.com. Wherever you're listening, we would definitely recommend subscribing so you can get new episodes right away. And then if you don't want to do that, you can just follow us and wait for us to tweet the links or whatever, and that's at LFOD Radio on Instagram and Twitter, LFOD Life on Facebook. We are recording right now at the record company. Huge shout out to them. They held it down all season long. Shout out to Pavement Coffee for keeping us caffeinated.
Facts.
The caffeine pyramid has been huge this season.
It's a literal pyramid.
It is an actual pyramid. Stay woke. And big shout out to Skull Candy, all our patrons, Patreon, patreon.com/LFOD Life. I promise you, you're going to want to check that out. And shout out, you know, the whole LFOD squad. We're about to get into this with Stackz. Yeah. You tune into LFOD Radio. All right, we're back. LFOD Radio. We got Stiggity Stackz with us.
Yeah, what's happening? What's going on, party people?
We're chilling. How are you?
Yo, you always bring the energy, man.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about life, man. Like it's a beautiful playing field, you know. Although, it can get rough, there's a lot of blessings that we can count, if we just open up to it. And always try to stay open to that.
Yo,
it's a really good energy.
That's been the message. I've been focused on gratitude, and once you focus on it, it just multiplies crazy.
Yeah.
It's a world of
Count the wins,
positivity.
celebrate the wins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then when you dig even deeper, even in the rough moments and all the L's, you can find gratitude from the lessons. You know what I'm saying? And that's been like probably the biggest win for me is that, when I'm going through the trials, which was like the last couple of months, like was crazy trials, yo. But, coming into the new year, the new decade, man, like I'm smiling because there's so much to smile about. Like,
Yeah, for real.
everything that seemed like a L was like a win in disguise, man. And that's a beautiful thing to feel, to be able to push through, make it to another day, to be able to, provide for my family, for my community. Like, it's fire, yo.
So congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, when you look at, like when you even step crazier and you don't even see things as wins or losses, like don't judge the situation.
Yeah.
You do find that
Facts.
it usually works out.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even let myself get caught up in like, is this something that would normally hype me up or bum me out, vice versa? Like you just said,
You can't tell if it's going to be good or bad because you never know what the next.
Because
There
we
could
haven't
be.
been here long enough. We ain't even seen it yet.
Or just know that something good will come out of a horrible thing,
Yeah. Nah, it's true. It's true. So many different ways to look at it, man. And I think that as long as we have that piece, even if it's just a little, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
Whatever we find that works for us, you feel me?
I'm gonna drop a parable on you. I wasn't gonna do it. There's an ill one. It's a I think it's a Taoist thing where it's like this dude, he's given a horse or something, or he finds a stray horse and it joins his farm, and they're like, "Oh, you must be so happy. That's so good." He's like, "I don't know if it's good or bad." And then the horse breaks his son's leg, and they're like, "Oh, that's so terrible." He's like, "I don't know, maybe." And then the next day, the military comes through looking for conscriptions, and his kid has the broken leg, so it can't be conscripted. So he's like, "Oh, that's so good." And he's like, "Nah, maybe." And it's just stuff like
just
that.
keeps going.
Don't really know.
Yeah,
Somebody
true.
might have been worked up about the broken leg, but if you give it the space, then it's like, well, now he doesn't have to go
Exactly.
fight in that war or this, So
Yeah.
Fate is coming for us all.
yeah,
If
so you got to
don't
just let it
dance
be
with
what it is. But,
it'll fight
Nah,
you.
that's fire. I've definitely heard that before, man. And like
Man,
those things are like
it's hard. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
easier said than done, but
Yeah.
that's worth it, man. Like
Yeah.
worth it to give it the work to put in to be able to.
Yeah, as long as we're talking about virtues, patience, because that's what's going to help you learn to do those things and change your perspectives.
True facts, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the big keys to dance. You know what I'm saying? Is patience. A
Big
lot
time.
of people rush in and they're like, "Gotta get good tomorrow. I gotta
Yeah.
do this move," and you can see it in their expression.
Yeah,
and
you can see how hard they're trying.
you can also see it also like separates the people who are a little bit more mature. Are the people who are sitting back. They know they have the groove. They know they have the funk. They know they have the buck, and they don't have to work as hard because they know it's like right there. They're just patient with it.
Yeah.
And you're really able, when you get to that space, you're able to tell your story that in a way that takes people on a
journey.
ride, rather than like it's just like I'm yelling, I'm screaming. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to say something, but it's like when you have that patience, everything pans out the way that it needs to pan out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more fulfilled with the arounds than if it's just like I gotta keep trying.
There's so many people that, when they were trying to give me pointers, this and that, they're like while I'm dancing, they're like, "Yo, take your time. And I felt like I wasn't even rushing to begin with, but it was like just kicking off. And they're like, "Take your time." And I'm like, it's like I felt like I was, but then you're like, take even more. Like
Even
that's what,
more,
take even more,
man.
and it just starts to look better the more you're patient and like it'll come out.
We were talking about how you're gonna be a fire dancer when you're like 75.
Oh, yeah.
with like and it's that fundamentals. Like take time to get the building
Oh, yeah.
blocks and
Get through those boring drills, you know, like because that is so important. My dad even told me he's practicing clarinet. And he's like. He tells me, like, when I go down there, I hate it. Like, I hate doing those drills. I hate doing those, like, scales. But, like, you hear him, like he played the Sacred Duke Ellington concert recently in Kendall Square. And it was, wow. Like, they get, so he was a solo
Shout out to
clarinetist.
Duke.
And he was just, he murked it. Like,
fire.
yeah. And, yeah, it's just, it's so dope.
get in the gym.
Yeah, you got to hit those
1,000
drills.
shots a day.
For real, like in anything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, being said, patience, and you said telling your story. I'm going to ask him that.
He said that.
So, how do you tell a story through dance? Because we were kind of talking about this earlier. Music and other art forms, it's like it's almost clearer to get an idea across or a message. Do you have a message contained in your dance?
Yeah, all the time. Like, and dance is interesting because you can tell it in multiple different ways. Like, you can literally show people, you know, in a sense, like miming your rounds, like you're showing people what it is, or you can do it vibrationally, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it musically. You can tell many stories, man. It's like the best way that I feel like I can possibly communicate my emotions, my thoughts, my ideas. Like, the playing field is unlimited. Like, who says I can't speak when I dance?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and integrate sound. Who says my body isn't an instrument? So I feel like when I dance, I can incorporate everything, like all the tools that are out there, and use it all at once to be able to express, like, you know, what it is that I want to say. And for the most part, man, I'm like literally celebrating, man. Like, when I dance, I'm like celebrating, like making it another day. Like, like, yo, every time, like, I take my time. I'm very patient. You know, I like to express like how much patience has been a benefit in my life. I like to express the tools that I've been able to come across spiritually. Like, you know, so my rounds are slow, but you always see me smiling. Like, I'm always like, just moving through that groove. I have this really, really deep appreciation for music, instruments, sounds, patterns, layers. So like, I express that by like kind of like showing the audience like what I'm hearing when I dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really feel like when you dance, you know, like you're not communicating with words, and that's actually like the newest form of communication for humans. I think that, you know, before
the oldest.
yeah, but I feel like before we knew how to speak to each other, we would just use body language. Like, why is it that you can understand how a dog feels if you get to know the dog for a while? They don't know any English, they don't speak anything, like, you know, so like to use our most primal form of communication, I think like that's why I feel like when I dance, I'm my most core self. Like, I've been dancing in the streets and just outside more recently because I realized like I just need that. Like, I'm just walking somewhere and the music hits me and I'm like, screw these strangers, man. I don't care if they think I'm weird. Like, you know, and like I think maybe you feel this way as well. But you're like you're most happy when you're just dancing. It doesn't matter if anyone's watching or not.
Yeah. You can tune out. You can create your own world, and I think that's important because like there's so many distractions. And there's so many people, like, you know, especially in America, it's like really, really fast paced, and so many people want your attention and your energy. But you know, when I tune into my body, I get to reset all of that stuff. Like, I get to like pull back, go into my world, and then like, you know, rather than always being in everybody else's world, I get to bring people into my world for just a second. You know what I mean? And it feels like,
it's beautiful.
It's making me feel like I need to learn to dance.
Man, everybody
come
at
through.
Least a little bit, you know what I mean?
I never feel comfortable, like, and now I'm like, damn, is that my realist expression? Like, am I just like not comfortable?
It's
because people
like,
they just say I suck at dancing, and I'm like, no, you don't. I've never seen you dance, and I already know that's wrong, because being good at dance is about loving it while you're doing it. No, but if you don't dance, it means you might think you suck.
What's crazy is
I'm not
that,
trying to like expose you, but
my team, people that are around me are like people that didn't dance before, and now like they're all like slowly getting into dance. Like I have this photographer. She actually does multiple things on my team. She like does grant writing, budgeting. She does the photography, sometimes the videos. Sarah.
Word. Yeah, she's dope. I talk with her on Instagram sometimes.
So like Sarah, like she when I met her, she was a groovy, interesting character.
Yeah, for sure.
But she didn't really like dance like that, or consider herself a dancer. And she's been around the dance scene so much lately in her life that she's like drawn in, So like this is her birthday. Tomorrow, her birthday's tomorrow.
Oh,
so we
really?
were celebrating last night.
Happy
and she
birthday,
was showing
Sarah.
me what she was working on. She's like, I was watching your class and like I started working on this wave.
That's so dope.
And then I felt myself like I was watching people learn, and it gave me more confidence because like before when I was looking at it, I was like, I'll never be able to do that. But then I was watching people who weren't able to do it at first learn how to do it, and I'm like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
So like. It was just funny to see her. Like she was, we were at the A4K like arcade.
Oh yeah.
Grilled cheese
Oh.
spot.
Roxy's.
Roxy's, yo. If you come to Boston, if you come to Mass, hit Cambridge, hit Roxy's.
It's lit.
It's definitely bomb. Like it's a nice little spot. So we were there, and the DJ's there playing music. And she started hitting a little robot.
Oh,
in the
shit.
face. And that was a little funky robot. I was like, man, like. It's crazy, like the world. It brings you in, and she feels the same way, like how he kind of introduced you, and like now you're kind of opening up to this whole new world. It's the same way all these people that work with me have felt. Like they're like, I never seen this world. When she came to Stiggity Stackz, just like others, they were like, what? Like once they got like a taste of one event, they were like, man, like. I want to be here, like, and then they start getting tied into it. Now she's like, man, this is my life purpose. Like, I want to be around this community and build with this community because, like, dancers carry a special energy of support for each other, and it's such a vulnerable space. When you're around, because everybody feels that. Even me to this day, like, I get around certain people, and like I still get shy. I'm like, man, like it's hard to tap in because it's vulnerable. Like,
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anytime I'm walking in
vulnerable.
new
You can't
scenes,
lie with dance. You
same
can't lie.
feeling.
It's an honest space.
You're out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Everyone's looking.
Everyone's looking, man.
It's
Everyone's
true.
watching, and everyone's thinking what they thinking.
All right, well, I'm gonna learn to dance. Like,
Let's get it, man.
yo,
Pull
maybe
up.
I don't want
Stiggity
to say
East.
it. Maybe that'll be a little series. Like, Sam learns to dance.
Beginner lessons, extra
That would be
bars.
fire. We can take videos and do a
Yeah.
daily kind of like.
the
maybe
groove of the
that'll
day. Yeah.
Keep me honest, A-Ball. When I'm back in the mix, let's try to do something.
Let's do something. I'm down.
I'll start stretching in the meantime. I'll get nice and limber.
Hit the gym, get the cardio
I'll
up.
just get nice and limber, and I'm a hip hop man. I just head nod.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
There's a
for
lot of good
years.
music for that, but sometimes you got to get up.
Word. So I'm gonna play the drums too. So we got a different.
Oh yeah. He and I made a beat once, and we never recorded it.
I don't
but
think. Yeah,
we
did.
should.
Need
We'll
that.
talk about drummers and dancing another time.
That's fine.
So since the last time we spoke, you have put together a number of things that are coming up this summer.
Yeah.
Because we want to give people the raw that we, get into that convo. But before we do, what's going on? What do you have coming?
Woo! So after Stacking Styles Volume 3, which is my annual festival, I had taken some time to kind of pull back and get my stuff together and start planning for 2020 and beyond. And I had all these ideas that I'm like, man, if I'm able to get the funding, if I'm able to really like put in work, I can pull this off in 2020. And so I was writing, doing budgets, bringing people on board, like the whole nine. And, I just got the first round of funding that I needed.
Congrats.
And I'm organizing a tour. So
A tour? How interesting.
Yeah, tour,
Wait a
man,
minute.
in Boston
Oh wow.
and outside of Boston.
Oh,
but
snap.
like primarily talking about the one in Boston. So like Stacking Styles, the formula for it is we take the time to really try to facilitate a space where the elders in the dance community get to communicate with the younger generations in the dance community. We do that through the
Yeah.
panel, like how we would set up, you know what I'm saying? And that's like a big portion because like when we create that bridge, like we have this like kind of like passing of the baton. You know what I mean? Like they get to really let us in on their process, and we can decide, is this the way we want to go or is this the way we don't want to go? And all that information is super important. So what I'm doing with this, I usually invite one or two OGs to come and speak, and I have all these formulated questions. And I bring them in from different neighborhoods. Now I'm bringing the event to their neighborhood. So we're going to Eggleston, and we're going to find an OG to honor. You know, we're going to set up this outside event that's an installation. Like, we're going to have these carpenters and these graph artists come through and build kind of this structure. We're going to have a stage, the whole nine, and we're doing an outside event for the public, for the community. We're going to have kids involved.
Word.
And it's going to be like kind of like a free insight into like how this event is run. And we're going to be doing that in different neighborhoods like Eggleston, where I came from, Mattapan, just different neighborhoods in like Roxbury, it's going to be the first time that anything like this has been done before. Then,
Do you have a goal for like how many neighborhoods?
yeah, so like when I first started writing about the idea, it was 5 neighborhoods. But now I think that because there's so many different areas in Dorchester that make up
huge.
Dorchester, I think I'm gonna do one for I'm gonna do one major one for Dorchester,
Okay.
one for Mattapan, and
Word.
then one for Roxbury. Like 3. Those are the 3
Beautiful.
main ones.
Yeah.
But we're planning for like 4 to 5.
Okay.
Word.
Yeah, but if we don't make those extra 2, we're not gonna we're planning for it, so we're safe.
Got you. I hear you.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next step?
The next step, we just got good news that Denver, Colorado, one of my company members from Denver, actually she just got cleared for some extra funding and some partnerships, and she's throwing her concert. And she brought Stacking Styles on board, so like
That's what's up.
we're booked for Colorado.
Hell yeah.
It's lit.
My soul bro up in Toronto, he just confirmed the date for Stacking Styles.
all right.
Man.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're taking the whole like event on the road.
On the road.
Stacking Styles worldwide.
Yeah,
Worldwide for real.
Worldwide. And
Yeah.
there's some other countries that also were interested in getting involved. There's a potential and these are just potentials, Sweden. There's a potential for Israel. There's a potential for Italy. There's a potential for the Czech Republic.
Okay.
Like, it's like a beautiful thing to see this thing manifest from just an idea that I'm like, how can I give back to the community? The first event was super small. There were like 70 people maybe, if not. And now this thing is in demand. Like, I just had, a legendary dancer from Montreal, Monster Pop. He just came through to the crib the other day.
Word.
Nice.
And he throws a huge festival, very similar, called Jack of All Trades. And they're like they're like my OGs in a sense. Like, they're my elders in the sense of doing this, along with Rashad, who has Book of Styles down in DC. And we've been talking a lot, and they kind of want to bring the forces together, man.
Word.
So it's a
Yo.
beautiful thing that's happening, man. I
That's
feel
what's
like
up.
this thing is kind of taking on a life of its own. And I'm working on making Boston like a really big attraction for street dance, for people to come over from overseas, for people to come from different states. Like, we got to bring this back because that's what it was before. And it took a long break, but like right now I'm just like,
It's starting to explode.
I'm jogging,
Yeah.
now I'm trying to run. I'm like, let's get it.
We're warmed up. Let's get sprinting.
We're warming up. Let's get the
Word.
sprint going.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. Congrats on
Yeah.
all of that.
Thank you.
So we're going to head to a break real quick. And then when we come back, we're going to play the interview from the MFA. And then we'll be back after that probably for a little cap on the whole thing.
Cool.
Let's do that.
Stiggity Stackz, LFOD Radio.
Shout out.
Stay tuned. All right, we're back. LFOD Radio, Stiggity Stackz.
Yeah.
We just replayed that conversation from the MFA. Shout out Hipstery and all of them.
Shout out to the
And-
guys, man.
For sure.
And the ladies.
It was lit. One of my favorite nights of the season for sure.
It was a real good time.
Yeah.
Real good time.
They did that.
Yeah.
So we want to close things out.
Yeah.
You had like a
Something that's been itching at me a little bit. You know, part of who I wanted to hit up for this dance panel was like people that I feel like were publicizing a little, like some struggles that they've been having.
Yeah.
Right. And so like my question was like, you know, based on how we've been losing a lot of space for dance in Boston, you know, like rest in peace Green Street Studios, rest in peace Timbuktu. There was a third place that is slipping my mind always.
It's my space, man.
Your space? Dang.
Yeah.
Stiggity East is gone?
Nah, not completely, man. It's just, you know, we had to dial back a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So just a
That's
quick
wild.
backdrop of that. So I pretty much got in with this building that was, you know, supposedly very supportive of the arts, and this new piece of real estate, luxury apartments, of course. They built storefront apartments on the first floor, 6 of them. And their idea was that, okay, we have a gallery at the end of the hall. Let's make these storefronts artists so we can open up an artist market. That way residents can come down and they have like a market downstairs. So we got painters, music producers, dancers, fashion designers, musicians, the whole nine.
Bayfront property. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's tight, man. Like, you know, like here I am coming from just like hustling my way and using creative spaces that also got shut down, MIT. I used to run up in there and run programs out of their lobby space that was like open and free until they shut it down, or at least restricted the time that you can use it, which the ideal time was like after 8, and they were like, can't use it after 8.
Yeah.
And I came up on this space, man, and you know, it was right around the time where I was really getting things together as far as my portfolio, and I ended up being the first person in the building, like, which was fire. So like, I ended up helping the management. You know, I was street performing for them to advertise for the building. And exchange, man, I was like, listen, we got this beautiful gallery space, and it's not even being used yet. Let's work out a deal where I can get in there so I can actually teach programs. Because at first it was just because my space is not the biggest space, so I was gonna use my actual living room to sell clothing, because that's another part of the business is like, you know, apparel, and I was gonna do consignments with, you know, local dance clothing art, like local dancers that had clothing lines that were fire. Because my space wasn't big enough. So it worked out, and they actually did me that favor, and we wrote out contracts, the whole 9, the deposits and all that. And I've been growing this program for like a year and a half, and it started really getting big. Like, I'm talking like filling up classes throughout the week. But I wasn't teaching. Like, I never wanted to be a studio because that's not my vibe.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help the community by providing fundamental courses so people can unlock their expression and the community can grow. And that's what happened. It grew. And they even allowed me to run, you know, Stacking Styles out of there. Like our second festival was there. But, you know, the issue was that there were some noise complaints that would happen, especially around Stacking Styles. It's a big event. Even when I threw the smaller event, not the main event there, there was still some noise complaints. But I think the underlying issue was they just had a problem with management, and they weren't letting the residents know, like, yo, here's what's happening downstairs. They weren't even giving me that. Like, they wouldn't even let me advertise in a sense, yo. They were
So
like,
all of a sudden it was just noisy as hell.
all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's just noisy. You know what I'm saying? And then I had a neighbor who, you know, was we had like a situation. You know, I'm there with my family and my child, and he just did something that was just like not really cool at all. And I went to him. We had a face-to-face conversation, and the conversation, long story short, was like, if you have any type of issue, just come to me and we can handle that. Other than that, like, you go your way, we go our way.
Yeah.
I didn't go to management and be like, oh, this guy is, blah, 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 this blah, blah, blah. But from that conversation, he kind of had a little energy towards me. Then there was another couple that lived at the end that was close to the gallery, and the guy was just like, he just never really was digging what was going on. So they came together and they started writing letters and stuff like that. And
why do you move into a place that's full of artists?
Yeah, and complain about dancers.
Well, that's white America. They're doing that down in and playing in Oakland. They're doing it in Oakland, where
Facts.
culture is the center of culture. You know what I mean? They're doing that in New Orleans. It's like, how do you move to New Orleans and say that they're playing loud music on the streets?
Too much noisy jazz around here.
That's what they
ridiculous.
do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's a big chunk of what happened. And the property managers, they just didn't go about it in a very sophisticated way. They just was like resorted to just like straight up trying to kick me out. Even though we had signed contracts for a program and I had already started my program, they were gonna just like pretty much make me stop teaching, and I would have had to give back all the money from that program. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like weird. And then it just, as that layer uncovered, Boston pretty much was just showing itself for what it really is. And that's, a little bit of what I was talking about in the last interview. And they ended up sending me a cease and desist to stop doing what they put me in the building to do.
Yeah.
As someone
Incredible.
who also pays rent.
Right.
And someone who supported the building and helped them out in the earlier days, and you know what I mean? Like, someone who's been super active and actually bringing people together. They didn't even take time to like come in and be like, well, what are you actually doing? Let's actually do a volume test. They never did any of that. They just were like, wash hands. And then the way they went about it was super, super messy.
Yeah.
So what I did as a response to that,
Shady.
because like, it's not only me, like my family's there. So like, I can't, be crazy until I set up my chess move for the next space. But like, I just dialed back my programs, and, I did it so that it's more exclusive. Only 7 people could sign up, plus a couple of more from my company. And my classes are real small and intimate, and they're like micro focused. So I call them mini sessions. And it's crazy because I'm thinking like, man, they made me build this thing. Now I got to dial back, but it actually helped in a sense grow the program. And I filled up the program for the first season of mini sessions, filled up.
Nice.
And people are like loving it. They're growing. It's crazy. I'm using the same sound system in my unit that I was using in the gallery, and there's not any complaints. So it's like a little weird.
You have the problems with the neighbor. It's like, I don't understand. There's no logic in these people's minds, apparently.
No logic at all, man. And that's the thing, man. Like, that's the thing about money in America, man. Like, a lot of these people, and it's a thing that they're doing everywhere, man. Like, they'll build these luxury apartments or condos, and they'll say we are supportive of art, we're supportive of animals and pets, and then you know what I'm saying, they'll make the building more attractive, therefore more valuable, and when they get all the value that they need
once
out
they
of
throw
it,
up the murals in your city, it's a wrap.
it's a wrap, yo.
Once they throw up
It's
the murals,
a wrap, man. That's how gentrification works, man. So like, Green Street, that was more of a, they had been doing the dance community a service for a long time by the owner was not charging as much rent as the property was valued.
Yeah.
So that was just more so just like a logistical thing. I don't think it was like meant like we're gonna close this space down.
Yeah.
But
it's just
also,
how it all happened at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
also, there could have been more people to step up and be like, let's get this place supported. Let's get this place funded.
Yeah.
More people in Boston, more pockets in Boston, more, of those people could have stepped up and been like, well, this place is an art. This is kind of a staple in Boston. Let's step up and make sure that these people can, pay the rent where it's valued, and the dance community can stay. So they got a new owner, and the owner was like, why would I continue to charge less than what it's valued. Like, why would I take that L as a private owner of a space?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's also a call for, and what I do is, teach about business and credit. It's a call for artists to step up and start owning properties, building our own spaces. Like, it's about that time. I've been dancing since I was a teenager, and now most of the people that I came up with are adults, and we have elders. Like, generationally, we should have been established something that we can pass down in the community. Yeah. And that's something that this generation needs to step up and build, or we're going to continue to have these problems of not owning spaces and kind of looking, in a sense, for handouts from the city and all that stuff. It's like, nah, let's do our education, let's do our Googles and step up where it matters and take action. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to mobilize, for real.
We got to mobilize, man. It's about that time, and I'm prepared, man. This is what I've been building on for a time. Like, this space that I'm in was only meant to be, I had a 5-year plan that I mapped out, data sheets, numbers, crunched it all out. 5 years, man, and I was moving on to that commercial property space. And, it's been a little bit dialed back. So, it may cut a little short because I have a feeling when the lease comes around, they're going to be like, doing some funny stuff. You have to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
But, like, this mind never stops working, never stop learning, never stop, opening myself up to the opportunity. So, I just had a meeting with someone the other day who, had big pockets and, they, owned a lot of real estate, commercial and private. And we had a really long discussion. So, like, who knows what the future may bring? Like you were saying, it could be a good thing. You just never know. It could be a bad thing. Like,
it's possible
like
to
real
tell.
deep, just to bring the conversation full circle.
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, it's big.
I'm excited to find out. It sounds like you got the plan.
Yeah.
Always, man. Like, especially as a young black man in America, what I'm saying, supporting a family. Like, I can't ever be backside out, man. Like, I have to be on my P's and Q's, man, because this system wasn't built for me. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like, it's not gonna be. Like, we have to, build within and build for ourselves, in a sense. Until the entire country is ready to have that really, really tough conversation, that's just the way it's gonna be. And I'm not here to really, cry about it. I'm like, this is what we gotta face. So step up. What up?
Yeah.
Word.
It's big.
Word. Yo, before we get out of here, is there anything you wanted to drop on us that you didn't?
Man, just, if I always say, man, the way to really get things going, like, we have to remember when we talk about the city, when we talk about, our city, like, it's us. So take a chance, show up to something you've never shown up to before, meet some people you've never met before, expose yourself to communities you've never been in before. And the only way we're going to get Boston, especially at the underground level, to thrive in the way that we envision it and wanted to, is if we step up and do it ourselves, man. So, like, when I throw out this Stacking Styles joint, show up. You know what I'm saying? When Deadeye throws out his events and his concerts and his shows, show up. When you guys do your interviews, everybody has to show up with that energy that we're doing the big thing that's gonna help us all come up. Facts. That's why I, like, came here ready, like, ready to support. You know what I'm saying? Like,
appreciate that.
So I'm to throw it out there to all of the people who will tune in, even if you're not in Boston, man, like, yo, support your city, support your people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, step up.
Start scheming on this property too,
Start scheming on these properties, man, because we so far out of the race, man. Like, like, it's just not a common thing to see, artists or creatives taking ownership. Like, we've been used to the industry doing it for us, management and all these different agencies that are set up to manage our finances and our opportunities. And it's like, we are in 2020, man. Like, there's nothing stopping us from stepping up and doing the research, becoming equipped with enough tools to be able to manage this ourselves, man. We just have to, like, increase our willpower You know what I mean? And realize how important it is for our young people, man. I think about my son all the time, and it's like, what type of world do I want him to live in? You know, like, I don't want him to bow down to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get ours, and, you know what I'm saying, we put on, and if we eat, the people that we love eat, you know what I'm saying? And in return, the people that they love eat, and, you know what I'm saying, we're just all growing together. So, like, I really mean that with my heart. You feel me?
It is always about family.
Yeah. Like you were saying earlier.
We were talking, and the bigger it gets, I think the happier the world can be.
Yeah. This is the culture, man. This is the stuff that thrives. It's not the money. It's not the things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that, you know, I grew up cash poor. You know, I grew up rich in a sense because the culture that I come from is demanded all around the world. You know, like, and this is just my aunt. You know, getting down in the kitchen at a cookout, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like, there's people lining up to take classes just to do that.
Yeah.
I grew up in that, you know, going to carnival, you know what I'm saying? Like, we grew up festive and creative, you know what I'm saying? And like, that is rich to me because in a sense, you know, we deal with the most hardships and we're able to take that and build something out of it. And that is incredible. Most people have to, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have that thing. So it's like, yo, man, it's incredible. I feel blessed.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you sharing it with us.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys for inviting me, yo. You guys are, you know, like that I was saying, man, he's like, yo, you guys are filling the gap for something that's needed in Boston. And the more people that step up and do that, the more we're going to really have that scene and that thing that we're looking for. And people can thrive and be happy
for sure.
And enjoy it. And not have to feel like we got to leave to go somewhere. And like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are doing something that's way, way more important than it seems now. And we'll find out very soon because I have a good feeling that you guys are going to
appreciate
really
that,
hold
man.
it down, man.
We really
talk.
Yeah. Facts.
Thank you for coming
talk,
through,
bro.
man. Yo, Stiggity Stackz. Where can they tag you? It's at _ on my Stiggity _
Yeah.
Word.
On my Stiggity Stackz Worldwide, Stacking Styles Official. You know, type in Stiggity Stackz, you'll be able to find everything. Just do a
the
little
one and only. Yo, we
Find 'em,
appreciate
for
it,
sure.
man.
Yo, appreciate y'all, man. for
We'll be
real.
back next week with some more. Make sure you subscribe. Get that right away, bright and early Tuesday morning. We are on most podcast apps. If you can't find us on yours, let us know. We'll get it added. You can keep up with us at LFOD Radio or LFOD Life on Facebook. YouTube, too, if you haven't checked that out yet. We got video from these interviews, extra bars, LFOD mixes, live event footage, etc., etc. Huge shout out to our patrons. If you don't know what that is,
to the patrons.
Patreon.com/LFOD Life. Artists, managers, submissions at LFODradio.com. If you rock with Stiggity, if you rock with anybody else you've seen on here, hit us up. We'll plug you in, connect the dots. That's what we're trying to do. Everyone is in this together. Big shout out to the record company. It's where we're recording right now. Shout out Skull Candy, Pavement Coffee, Thomas, Amanda, Christiana, and the whole LFOD squad.
Yeah.
Thank you, A-Ball.
Thank you, Sam, for
Appreciate
putting all of
you,
this together.
man.
Where we got this. Yo, we're going to dance our way to victory here.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
let's get you in them classes, man.
Yeah.
Do my yoga.
Yeah.
All right, LFOD Radio. Peace. Thank you for listening.
Gang.